Hey y'all, it is June the 20th, 2020. I don't know about y'all, but I find that set of numbers eerie. Y'all, we are on the internet right now. Um, and I just kind of got into the swing of things real recently. Woke up not too long ago, and I now have a cup of coffee that's dwindling, but I enjoyed it. We're hopping on. It's kind of on a whim. And I want to show you some stuff, all right, that I've been talking about, or I talked a little bit about it yesterday. I hope you're having a good Friday right now. I mean, it is Friday, and I feel some sort of way, and I feel very brand new. I don't know. I feel very. We'll talk about it maybe a little bit later, but I wanted to discuss some stuff with y'all right now. As I was getting into the swing of things, getting my wherewithal established for the day, I actually came across this video. We're going to talk about another video from a local news here in San Antonio to lend some sort of perspective on black people, I think. But before we do that, I just want to mention very, very certainly that what we're going to discuss is not the number one most important thing to discuss for tonight. I don't even know if it'll be in the top 10. But it's just something to do. And here's the thing. Before I jumped onto the broadcast, I wound up watching this here video on the internet. And it's breaking. I think it came out earlier today. Earlier in the afternoon. Jesse Lee Peterson, who is actually off to your left right here, if you're looking at the visual, he had an interview with a very, very interesting man, a very mysterious man, who, I don't know if you ever heard of him, but John McAfee. All right. Very, very like James Bond mysterious. And he, of course, is the inventor of McAfee software, antivirus software. All right, and since then he's been carrying on and doing wild, crazy things for many years and stuff. John McAfee. So, anyways, a very interesting combination of people, this duo, and I certainly appreciated it. I gotta let you know, if you have any time, I don't know if anything else would be more worth your time than this right here, Jesse Lee Peterson. As you can find it on YouTube, obviously. I don't know how or why we're still on YouTube, but there's a reason for everything. Okay, so like you can see right there, it's actually on the Fallen State channel. You could just type that up on YouTube, you'll find it, if you wanted to. Alright, but you know what, actually, the reason I bring it up is it kind of lent me a perspective just watching this here video. I don't know if it introduced, but it kind of reinforced the idea of that this is very interesting. This is so interesting. Alright, so while I was watching this video, I couldn't help but think to myself, or had the thought run through my head that I couldn't even be watching or looking at anything more interesting or listening to something more interesting as I putter around the apartment, kind of try to clean it up. Couldn't really be listening to anything more interesting. Alright, and it got me thinking about the news and how frantic everything could be, chaotic it seems, coming from every which angle at us. Before we dive into this video, and we're about to do some deep analysis, or it's going to be deep, but at the same time casual analysis of this here local news from San Antonio, like I said. Alright, but just to finish the point here on what I'm talking about as far as this video, this one that I've seen just right now. I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen most of it. It's so dang interesting. It's infinitely more interesting and entertaining than the video that we're going to actually have an analysis on, unfortunately. And you know what it reinforces is the idea is that this news stuff, this news that we cover it a lot. It's in a sense worthless, especially if you start talking about more and more news. The more and more news you start discussing, maybe kind of like an Alex Jones, it makes sense to do that, to kind of gain a wherewithal, share information, many different bits of information, all kind of rapid fire. But at the same time, after a while, I think everybody comes to understand. All right, maybe they get black pilled, maybe they get just overwhelmed, maybe they get all flustered, maybe they run away from all digital devices. At least for a brief time period, people understand that it doesn't matter how much you know. And I want to embrace that. As far as the news, I don't think it matters at all, right? Because there's so much of these news tidbits, right? And there always has been, but now it's just at extremes. All right, we're not making it up. We're not overestimating it. It's extreme. Everything coming externally is extreme, and we might actually take a look at some of those examples before we get out of here. That is, if we have enough time, but perhaps we won't. What I want to stress is all these things, we kind of know all these things, and we're knowing all sort of other things that we never knew. The reason is not because we're smart, but just because it's being revealed to us. So graciously, by the way. So unbelievably graciously is it being revealed to us. So with that being said, you know, certain things you could just dive into one point. Like, for example, I think it's a great example. Jesse Lee Peterson having an interview with John McAfee. Might I suggest, when you come across things like this, you look into it and you can see everything and know everything, right? And when going through frantically all this news, which in a sense is important because we're sharing with each other, you lose the forest for the trees. I think what I would suggest, and it doesn't matter how much you know because there's so much more that you don't know. In fact, I feel like, and perhaps some people would agree with me out there, the more that you know, the more you realize you have not a clue. Right? And back then, when you didn't know anything, not even anything, you thought you knew everything. That's human nature, ain't it? It's kind of a fallen state. In fact, that's what this channel, Jesse Lee Peterson, is called, the fallen state. So isn't it interesting? So we look at one thing and we know everything. Why? Not because we're smart, because it's revealed to us all right in front of our eyes. We don't have to look around necessarily. We know. And then you can look at all these other things and just totally not know anything at the same time. That is possible. In fact, it's the only way. It seems to be the only way. All right. Anyways, I just want to get that out of the way. Actually, on YouTube, I'm going to stay on YouTube. That's where that KSAT Explains video is. All right. And with all this in mind, when we look at the KSAT, video and analyze it right now, this KSAT Explains. All right, and just have a little fun on this Friday night, we'll know for sure that what we're talking about, is so stupid. It's made up, it's conjured up, and it is trivial, and it's not even close to what's important here on the earth right now as far as priorities go. KSAT Explains. San Antonio black teens pens essay to reflect. This is one day ago. That's not even a video that we were talking about. KSAT Explains. Wow, they got resident Charles Davis. They tell us violent encounter with a police officer. This was a day ago. Man, these guys are getting pretty prolific. One day ago, KSAT Explains. I didn't even realize this, y'all. This is also breaking news. KSAT explains San Antonio protest history and battle for civil rights. Okay, KSAT explains unrest in America. Dang, dude, they're just going for it. They uploaded all sort of things yesterday, as you could. They uploaded like dozens of videos, all pertaining to the same thing. KSAT explains. God, they made a whole day of it, didn't they? They made a whole day of this. All these sort of things. Okay, so KSAT explains all of this sort of stuff. I don't know why, but this is the only thing KSAT has ever explained, and they did it over and over. Well, you know, maybe it's the start of something. I'm not sure. All right, but the KSAT explains video that we were actually taking a look at only yesterday. I believe it was this one, which is longer. The KSAT explains unrest in America. Episode 1. So popular it's got 331 views on YouTube. In San Antonio, just a population of about, surrounding area is about 2 million. And you know, like all the children and the high school people are on the internet right now, so they're just not watching it at all. We're gonna dive into it a little bit and just have a little fun at the same time. Note that, you know, obviously chaos and calamity all over the place in the nation, all right? So we did not forget that. But let's check this out. KSAT explains, they're going to explain all sort of chaos and calamity and break it down for us, all right? And hopefully we don't buffer too much, all right? Not that I want to harp on things and stuff, but I'm probably going to stop the video here and there to explain what all sort of dastardly lies are being told at that particular time, but also to make sure that the video doesn't buffer and stuff, you know, keeping up with our technological limitations. And I appreciate y'all. All right, let's have a little bit of fun tonight.
Because I'm the mayor of this damn city, and we're gonna make change together, okay?
Okay, so I don't know how good the audio is, all right, but it's the best that the technology's having for us right now. I got it at max volume, all right? I'm hoping that I'm on the internet, in fact. But we're just gonna go ahead and have a little bit of fun, all right? The mayor, if you didn't hear, we ended off on that note on a previous stream in which he called San Antonio. And I mean, the more it passes through my mind, the more I know that it's wrong to call San Antonio a quote goddamn city. Oh, you're the mayor of this goddamn city. I'm pretty sure that's a reason to resign out your office. But let's just go ahead and continue, because it's going to be kind of wild. I apologize if the audio is a little bit low. Alright, KSAT explains it's tripping.
The killing of George Floyd was the tipping point, but protests and tensions weren't born overnight.
That's San Antonio, y'all. Oh yeah. I don't know what that is. Pretty handy intro, you know. We don't want to be buffering and stuff, but that's what it is. KSAT explains there's a lot of production value involved in this. They want to make it seem all Hollywood, I guess. I don't know if they're having trouble making movies these days. Alright, but that was San Antonio. And, you know, actually we passed by, I don't know how many people might be familiar with the skyline of San Antonio. Lord knows, I don't know what moment they showed it. But if you are, there's a tower. It's called, oh man, we took it way back. A Tower of Americas. It's pretty dang awesome. I've been up there one time. And it's scary, man. You go up in the elevator, and you can see through the glass all the way down. And you're talking about, I don't even know how many stories, like hundreds of stories. I don't know if I'm tripping, but anyways, here's the, I don't know what the hell, what
Lives
moment
Matter
we just
movement.
leave off on.
How this historic moment is playing out right here in our city, and how this is a topic that is extraordinarily personal for so many people.
The black man is feared. No matter what he does,
You know what's so interesting? It's like everybody has their own perspectives. And I like how they did this right here. And they have like a handful of, I suppose, black people. And they're talking about, they're giving their testimonies and stuff. And it's just wild and outrageous, right? And I know it's her perspective and everything, but that is just her perspective. She's saying the black man is feared by who? I'm not sure by who. And we can go off on a whole big tangent about that if we wanted to, and break down the unbelievable, I don't know if you call it ignorance or whatever, total absolute lie. But the thing is, she believes it while she's telling it. She's been deceived. Talking about the black man is feared. What does that even mean? By who? Right? It's just a lump accusation basically, and saying like, oh, if some people fear black people, then everybody else has to also fear black people, and so the black man is feared in general. And no, she's talking about the black man. She's not even talking about the black lady. She is a black lady. How would she know necessarily? Right? Right, she just assumes that every single black man that she knows is feared by everybody. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. Why would they just fear? It's like that. That's literally not the case. She made it up. She made it up in her head, and you might say, "Well, no, that's popular belief." Yeah, it is, because all those people have made it up in their own heads, right? And they're actually straight tripping. And she's talking in all sort of generalities for one. Number one, if she's trying to say that the black man, quote, is feared all over the world, I'll have to assure you that no, he is not in the slightest. All right, if that's what you're talking about, you're speaking on generalities. If you want to divide people up, which all that you think about all day, you say black people, white people, Asian people, Mexican people. That's how you divide them up, and different various other peoples, and you say, oh, the black man is feared. Not at all. On a world scale, not even in the slightest. And that's what's actually kind of terrible about it, is they're kind of like ran all over on a world scale all the time, right? And it's unfortunate. In fact, some people are working on that, I'm sure, in certain countries, right? But it said the black man is feared, propagating all these lies. All right, and we could stop it every 5 seconds and talk for about 2 minutes, but I'm going to refrain from doing that. I want to give you a little bit more taste, just to let you know she's spouting a lie that has nothing to do with her anyways. She's talking about a black man, meanwhile she's a black lady. She says no matter what he does, where he works, where he lives, all walks of life, he is feared. That is absolutely not the case. And see, this is on the news. They claim to be the news, and they're spitting out all sort of lies that couldn't even be construed as facts. Number one, they couldn't even be contrived as facts, but even still, it's very much a lie. Like, for example, it really does matter where he lives. Yes, it does matter. Obviously, it would matter. It would matter where he works. It would matter all over the place. Unless you're talking about the fear of getting sued for somehow wrongly treating a black man, then no, he's not feared everywhere he goes.
Where he works, where he lives, all walks of life, he is feared.
And I've had experiences to where I've been riding through a neighborhood and been pulled over because I don't look like I belong there.
A lot of us
He has experiences about riding around the neighborhood because he doesn't look like he belongs there. What? See, these are people, I guess, from San Antonio. You would assume either that or they're cherry picking from all across the nation, which is obviously trying to mislead you then, because isn't this all supposed to be about San Antonio? Or it's kind of vague. Is this supposed to be about San Antonio, or is this supposed to be about everywhere else? That's what I'm wondering. Right? And I'm sincerely confused. But if these people are supposed to be from San Antonio, he says, well, he's riding around in a neighborhood that doesn't look like him, so he has to get pulled over. And San Antonio is so big. And there's cities that are even way bigger. There's cities in China that are like 20 times bigger than San Antonio. Right? But it's so big that There's no way anybody knows, like, there's so many colors of people. You can't look at someone and say, oh, because of the color of their skin, they don't live here. It doesn't make sense. You could look at someone's face and say, I've never seen that person's face before, and so I have reason to believe they ain't from around here. Or I've never seen that person's car before, and so I have reason to believe that they don't live around here. And then secondly, it might be in the middle of the morning or something like that, or deep into the nighttime, and you're riding around a neighborhood in which, say, a police officer realizes that I ain't seen this car around here lately, and also I don't see this person, and it's the middle of the night, so I'm gonna pull him over, and you're gonna be like, oh man, he's hitting on black people. All right, and then this lady's, what's she gonna say? Says a lot of us have been stopped for crazy reasons, crazy, along the way, and it didn't make any sense. You know, in order to break down this whole entire video, I'm sure we'd need like 4 or 5 hours, and of course we don't have that right now. We got a little bit of time, but you know, just to be very brief. You know, we could have a lot of different debates and arguments over it, but you know, the thing is, you can cut down police interaction with people as far as on a confrontational scale by pretty much just doing away with the war on drugs, which was stupid, and it's a stupid failure. And if you want to argue in favor of the war on drugs right now, and go for it, but it's so stupid and it's such a stupid failure. And not only that, driving on the highways, on the streets and stuff like that, as far as giving traffic tickets, that's only meant to extort the U.S. populace, and it's been doing it so wildly for so long, and it's been like the excuse has been, oh well, that's how the police get money. How about they get money in an honest way, right? Why, if everybody breaks the speed limit that I know, who I've ever met, they all break the speed limit, well then they're all breaking the law, right? It's just that you didn't catch them. Now you got to be a little spy on the road catching them. They're gonna break the law either way. Alright, it's damn ridiculous. To the point is now, oh yeah, now you got permission to extort people. Why? Is it because you're saving people's lives? And I don't want to harp on the police too much, but no, it's not because you're saving lives. You're not saving any lives. You're saving exactly 0 lives across the nation as far as being the police on the highways. It's not helping you. That's not to say you can't have cars to get where you have to go. Maybe you got to go to the scene of a crime. You need a car, right? So I'm not taking away cars from police. I'm saying they don't have no business doing traffic stops and stuff like that. And meanwhile, guess what? War on drugs, traffic stops. You erase that, how many confrontations with the police are people really going to have? Would that or would that not negate about 95% of the confrontations that people have with police? 90 to 95%. All right? So just stopping y'all for crazy reasons, oh, these crazy ambiguous reasons that you're not going to explain anyways, you're just a person rambling and stuttering and stammering about some nonsense, and the news is actually so criminal that they'll put you up on a spotlight for no good reason. Like they just found a homeless person, not to say you're homeless, but just like to say that they went outside their office, found a homeless person, and started filming them jabbering and stuff, man. This should be illegal.
Have been stopped for crazy reasons along the way that didn't make any sense.
Me and my dad and my mom have had conversations about.
This guy's like 13 and a half years old, man. I don't know why, whatever, just because he's looking down, I guess. But it looks like he's higher than anybody's business. He says, me and my mom, or he said, me and my dad and my mom have had conversations about some of these different things going on. First of all, just to look at you, I know that you're super mixed, right? And I'm not judging anybody. You're a handsome young man. Here's the thing, you're it's not a contest for anything at all, but you're barely black, right? So that's to say that, yeah, you probably have a black father or a black mother, and then you have something completely, totally different. And I can only imagine the situation of them sitting you down and telling you, listen, son, you're a little bit black, and so people are going to start hunting you down. Those people are the police, and you're going to have to know how to break yourself off. And you don't have any rights because you're partly black and stuff. It's like, wow, this person, this young kid, I don't know why he looks higher than anybody's business, but You're having what kind of conversations? Your name is Jace. You're having what kind of conversations with your parents? Why are you on the news?
Some of the different things going on, and it's everything, minorities have to deal with.
Oh, you talk too
Minorities.
articulately to be black.
Man, it's so crazy. I gotta stop. Because there's so many, I can stop every sentence in its tracks. That's how potent it is. These people crystallized it. These people somehow got an extract. They took a whole bunch of lies and extracted its potency and crystallized it in a damn video. It's unbelievable, right? But this young kid, the one that we just passed up, honestly looked barely black, and it's not a competition about how white we can be, about how black we can be, about how brown we could be. It's really not a competition. And so he's saying, oh man, to be a minority in San Antonio, or just to be a minority. They say to be a minority, right? What does that even mean? A minority in the world? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean in America? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean in San Antonio, Texas? What do you mean? What the hell are you saying? The reason I bring that up is because only last night I had this guy who was talking to me. He has a last name and it's a Hispanic last name, right? Meanwhile, his skin is literally the same tone, if not, about the same tone as mine. That's what happens in San Antonio. There's all sort of people who have white skin who have Hispanic last names, right? There's a lot of people with brown skin who's got Hispanic last names. There's a lot of people with brown skin who's got non-Hispanic last names. I mean, it's what it is. It's like I've explained it, and it really is that simple, right? So, anyways, this guy who's talking to me about being a minority. So it's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're a minority. A minority where? Like I said, he's a light-skinned guy with a Hispanic last name. He said, talking about being minorities or something. He's talking something about Joe Biden is about to help the minorities. I was like, where are you a minority at? Because here in San Antonio, pretty much half of the people have your skin color and everything. It's like you're the extreme majority here in San Antonio. You are exactly the stereotypical person from San Antonio. So how in the world they got you convinced that you're the minority? Same thing goes with this little mixed kid on the video. You're mixed in San Antonio. Believe it or not, you're the majority. Believe it or not. And somebody convinced you otherwise. And you're high as hell on the news. But let's see this guy. What he says is, oh, you talk too articulately to be black. Oh man, I've been on the internet long enough to know, and in the real world, by the way, long enough to know about this guy's quote. We're gonna hear him say it. Quote, oh, you talk too articulately to be black, or you're too smart to be black. Now, this is used as racist, and obviously this whole thing is meant to divide. Obviously, it was very well thought out and planned out for this reason, to divide America by skin tone. All right, so he says, you talk too articulately to be a black man. All right, I can guarantee you 100%, and just because I know from personal experience, 1,000%, I'll put everything that I own on it if you really want to. You think I'm playing? I bet you 1,000,000% that the only person he's ever heard these words from, if he's ever heard them before, and I don't know that he has, but if he has ever heard them before, it was from a black person. Absolutely guaranteed. It's just like Juicy Smollett. Absolutely guaranteed this is 100% lie. Either that or it's he heard that from a black person. So whatever it's worth.
Oh, you're too smart to be black.
So hearing people joke is, I'm in a gang. Or,
All right, nobody in the world has looked at this young kid. Nobody. I don't know what he's dressed like or anything, but just looking from his face and his clown bob hair. Here's the thing with Sideshow Bob. Here's the thing: nobody ever looked at you and thought, "Oh, this young man's in a gang." Or if you were in a gang, nobody looked at you and even cared about it at all. Right? I'm just judging by your face. You're probably a young man. You're probably not that big. Nobody's concerned. Even if you were in a gang, nobody would be concerned. Little old ladies probably wouldn't be concerned. All right, unless you're just somehow 6'4", 6'5", and I don't know it. I don't know what
walking
this.
down the street and people and white people not wanting to actually walk across by me,
All right, your skin is super white. You're talking about white people not. You're totally not. You're first of all you're lying or something, or your mind's playing tricks on you, and you're sincerely paranoid. How did you get that way? Probably because of the reefer, or I could be mistaken. But you look high as hell. How? Why do you look that way? Are you very paranoid at the same time? Is your mind playing tricks on you? You are basically white. I'm looking at your skin. Alright? And that's what's so crazy. It's like there's a division between these colors, which is so elementary. Say, oh, you're not this particular color. You're not this particular color. Your skin is white. I'm looking at it. I got basically the same skin tone as you, if not slightly darker. And you're trying to imagine that white people are crossing the street because they think you're in a gang, and that you're walking by yourself, and they're intimidated by you. Wow. You lied. You're lying. This whole thing is a lie, and it's beyond preposterous. Like, if you wanted to make a parody video, it would look exactly the same as what you're watching. So that's what's the trick.
across the street, they don't actually want to walk right past where I am. And I think it's some of those subtle things that hurt the most.
I had a gift card, and the clerk looks at me and goes, "Is this good?"
All right, I'm going to stop right there. A lot of these testimonials you'll hear from these black people, they sound kind of off the wall, but in a sense, I'm willing to accept that there's probably some truth in it. Like, for example, that young boy is tripping off his balls, very paranoid, and has been brainwashed by his parents and stuff. And so he thinks white people are avoiding him and stuff because they're afraid of him. That's not the case. But the thing is, there could be a shred of truth in it, and that he might believe that actually. And yes, that a previous black man, he might have been told that he talks too good to be a black man, but he was told that by a black man or a black lady, and that's 100% guaranteed. This lady over here, there's not even a chance in hell. I gotta tell you, dude, like, I've seen grocery stores and stuff like this, and I've been in Dollar Generals for extended periods of time, and Walmarts and all sort of things. What she's saying, this quote that you can read right here, literally never happened, ever. It never did in America. It never did. Alright? With one caveat, I'm explaining, look, I had a gift card. The clerk looks at me and goes, "Is this good?" I go, "Is my card good?" He said, "Why are you asking me if my card was good?" Perhaps your card was expired, number one. Alright? Perhaps actually the most probable thing is that you're lying and totally making it up. Okay, but it said maybe it could have been expired. Like, you're not going to give any context. The reason is because you're setting out to lie, because you want to create some sort of racial division that literally doesn't exist here in San Antonio for some sort of agenda. Right? And it is shameless, right? Shameless old lady. But here's the thing. So is this good? You're asking me, why are you asking me if my card is good? Well, what was this person's answer? Is it because you're black? And that doesn't make any damn sense, right? Literally, it never happened, Juicy Smollett. It freaking never happened in the news. See, that's the thing about it. You might be a gibbering homeless person, for all I know. Telling lies, I can't blame you for that. That's on your own prerogative. The news is actually showcasing you for some reason, and that part is criminal.
And I go, "Is my card good? Why are you asking if my card was good?"
Or I've been in a store where I'm being followed around by a salesperson. It's like, I'm not stealing. I have money. If I didn't, I wouldn't be in it.
Because sometimes you
It just doesn't even make sense. I have money. If I didn't, I'm not stealing. If I didn't have money, I wouldn't be in the store, would I? You know what? There's a lot of people in the store who don't have no money who's stealing it. Believe it or not, it's like, that's what's so crazy. And you already know right on his face, she can't even pretend to acknowledge reality. And that if I go to the store, I know that I'm about to buy some stuff, but I also know full well that there's people in the store who are trying to steal the stuff at any given time. I know that for a fact. Is it because I'm so black? No, it's not. Because I acknowledge reality. So because I acknowledge reality, now you obviously don't acknowledge reality. That is to say, because you're black, you think that nobody in the store could possibly be stealing? I mean, wow. And then the news puts it on the news and says this is the most crucial thing in America. All right? So you get followed around. First of all, it's all this sort of profiling. You look like a type of person who would steal, and I'm not even talking about your skin color necessarily. The way you're looking and sounding and acting, it seems like, but here's the thing, maybe that person was not even expecting you to steal anything. Maybe you're paranoid just like that mixed kid back there who thought he was in a gang. Maybe you're that paranoid. Maybe it's all in your head. Did you ever stop? Because here's the thing, you can't call out any person by name. You can't say, oh, this and this and this happened here and it's well documented. None of what you're saying is documented at all, and you can't call out anybody by name. Basically, you're lying, and it's obvious. So sometimes you internalize it in a sense where it's like you almost tell yourself that it's your fault or something. What are you talking about, dude? If you ever had these thoughts and they float around in your head, then God bless you, you got some problems. All right? You need to get over it, and I know that sounds harsh, but yourself, you almost tell yourself that it's your fault or something, that you did something wrong or something like that. I mean, it's nothing more than 10-second sound bites, if that, of people absolutely spitting jibber jabber, literally nothing, word salad at you. It's on the news. It's supposed to be crucial. And before we go any further, as you could tell, we're not even 5 minutes into this damn video. And you can see quite clearly, if you just focus, might I suggest, on what we've been talking about, what we've been looking at, you can see everything. You know the answer to everything. Inside, internally, yes, you do. Because if you know the answer to what we're looking at right here, and you could break down to, and you know exactly why that they're doing it, you can see how immaculately they're carrying it out. You can tell that they have no original thoughts. In fact, nobody does, but these people are carrying out a process of the destruction of America. And if you were to ask them if they were, they would sincerely not understand what they're doing. But they know that they love lies, and they're so in love with lies, and they'll fight you and they'll kill you in order to maintain a grasp on their lies. They love them more than anything you could ever imagine. It's their love for lies. Right? These people, and you might not recognize them just by looking at them, but it's not going to take you very long to realize lies or nothing for these people. All right? So he's not going to bring up that, like, okay, first of all, it was probably black people who told you you're talking too good, right? Am I talking too good? Is my talking so good right now? Am I a black person now? All right, literally, I have these questions, and he's saying, "Oh, you talk so good, so you must not be black." You were told that by a black person, and then you're like, "Oh, did I do something wrong?" No, you're a dumb idiot. You did nothing wrong because you need to live your life. And these people out here, and you're taking it in and internalizing all of it and traumatizing yourself, and this is why you're a dumb idiot. All right, and the thing is, I tell you that out of love because I wish that you would change your ways and start acknowledging the truth, but you can't. You hate America because you love lies so much, apparently.
Internalize it in a sense where it's like you almost tell yourself that it was your fault or something, that you did something wrong or something like that.
It's real. I mean, people that don't have to experience that every day, they'll never understand.
What is it about our skin color that makes people?
All right, so I mean, just the most stereotypical things. I can't believe we didn't even get hardly 6 minutes into this video so far. All right, but as you saw the first gentleman, he was like, people will never understand. They'll never understand. See, and that is exactly where your problem in lies, right? Because your answer is that people will never understand, meaning that if people bend over backwards to try to understand, you're going to set the goalpost a little bit farther. You're going to make sure that they never understand because it's not worth understanding, basically. And you're so in love with lies. And the news is in love with you. You're now a celebrity. Good for you. He's like, oh man, they just won't never understand. Hey, if you're going to tell me that I'll never understand, then why don't you just go somewhere else where I don't have to understand you? All right, I've never said those words in my life. Oh, they'll never understand me. They'll never understand because my skin tone. Freaking loser. What is about our skin color that makes people not trust us? Hey, here's your answer. Paranoia. That's what it is. And that's what the reporter should have told you while they were filming you. When he said, what is it about our color? It's the color of your paranoia. Dumb hoe. Oh man, I'm sorry. I just got banned off of YouTube. I'm just saying, this is damn ridiculous. You want to take down my country because of your scare rhetoric, as Hillary Clinton would put it. Your damn dirty, low down, dirty damn lies. And that's why you want to do it.
Not trust us.
I should not have to say, just because I'm black doesn't mean I don't have a brain. I'm not getting ready to rob you.
What on earth? Oh my gosh, what on earth? What on earth? Just because I'm black don't mean I have a brain. Oh my gosh, find one person right now. I don't care how far and wide you run. I want you to find one person right now that says black person literally doesn't have a brain in their head. Find one person. Ever. Right? And bring them to me, right? I want to see them, but here's the thing. What? You're lying and it's so amazing? You're not fixing to rob me? Oh, okay. I'm glad and I'm so relieved that this little old lady is not fixing to rob me. Alright? Like I wouldn't just, I mean honestly, with an open hand slap, knock her unconscious if I wanted to, which I don't want to. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be that easy? I'm not concerned about you robbing me. What the hell are you talking about? Talking about some lies. What's this guy had to say?
This was brought up that if anybody calls you a slang term, they call you boy, they call you anything derogatory, like
all these things he was called by black people, and I know it's for sure. Unless he was never called these things and totally lied about. Right? I mean, and not only that, I mean, obviously not the blackest person I've ever seen. And that's what I got. See, it's a damn shame that we even had to talk like this. Because none of it matters. Right? But when it comes to San Antonio, that's what I got to stress for y'all is that we got a lot of black people. There's always been black people. I don't know that anybody has a problem with that. And if they did have a problem with it, they would go politically nowhere in San Antonio. And everybody knows it. All right. That being said, a lot of our black people, the great majority of our black people, I gotta say, sometimes I can recognize them as far as being from San Antonio, no matter where they're at in the country. I'll look at them and say, man, they look like they're from San Antonio. And the reason for that is because most of them look sort of mixed with something. Mixed with all sorts. Everybody's mixed with something, and you can tell. This guy right here is not Wesley Snipes, right? He's not Dave Chappelle even. He's not. He's so mixed, and who even cares? But he's so paranoid, and he's saying all these names that he's been called by black people, but he's not even admitting it, and that is what's reality.
You just be quiet because you already know their mindset. You can check all the boxes for being smart, being articulate with your words, not getting in trouble, not stirring a pot on things, and it didn't matter that night. All that mattered was that I was black in a car.
All that mattered was that you were black in a car? All that matters was that you were black in the car. I mean, let's try to pretend that you're not making all this up. hypothetically, if this were to happen, the cop is never pulling you over and saying, "Hey, are you black?" And honestly, he would have to ask you. But he wouldn't say, "Hey, are you black? Are you black and you're in a car?" Gotta arrest you about that. Of course, because of white supremacy. In the city of San Antonio, where more than half the time you're probably gonna find a non-white officer, right? Or close to half the time. It's about 50-50. So, oh, are you black in a car? Gotta arrest you about that. And for no other reason.
So what's so scary about our skin color? Why does everyone?
The answer is nothing at all, you paranoid lady. You're like, I mean, you might live in a home, but you're staring around like you need to be in a mental institute.
Hate us because of our skin.
We're going to be hearing more personal stories to give this issue some perspective throughout this entire show. But first, we want to take a look at how the protests have played out right here in our own city since the death of George Floyd.
See? All right, so now it's very ambiguous. I see there's somebody up in the building. All right, I acknowledge you and your presence. Thank you for the time being. We've already kind of dived pretty good ways into this, and we've analyzed a whole bunch to the point is where we're starting to wind down. We're getting tired. We're getting a little bit fatigued off of it. All right, but we've just seen all these testimonials. Now this lady, see, it's such a problem, and it's so calculated. It's so dastardly. I mean, Dr. Evil couldn't have done it better. These people, they're out here, and it's so ambiguous because all these black folks that we just heard from, are they from San Antonio? It's hard to even tell. Are they? They seem like they might be, but is this San Antonio's problem? The answer is no, not even close. All right, you're some damn liars. It's not San Antonio's problem. And so now she's gonna bring it back and say, well, and so now let's give you a look about San Antonio. It's like, I thought that's what we were doing this whole time. I can't tell when you're talking about San Antonio or when you're not talking about San Antonio. And now you got pictures of crowds here in San Antonio. Let's take a look.
On Memorial Day, the day after Floyd's death in police custody, protests began in Minneapolis. But it wasn't until that Saturday that we saw protesting in San Antonio. Thousands of people showed up at that first protest, and even though there was some chaos and some vandalism at the end of that night, the demonstrations were overwhelmingly peaceful.
I mean, it's so dastardly, isn't it? Isn't it so dastardly? I mean, if you hadn't heard that like about 100 times already, wouldn't that have knocked you out of your seat? Although things were all violently smashed up and burned and stuff, basically it was a very good time and everybody had a very polite, nice time. I mean, the epitome, that's the thing about it, it comes in all shapes and colors and sizes. So look at this lady to your left. The epitome of a fork-tongued, slithering, slimy, creepy crawly. If you were to find that in your bedroom, then Lord help you. Alright, that is something else. That's something else. That's, might I suggest, demonic possession.
We know that this goes on all over the country. So this is our way of showing how we support that injustice is wrong.
We are here to ensure.
Oh God, it's so creepy. You know we've gone off the deep end and there ain't no going back. We're past the point of all return. Because not only was that criminal looking guy wearing a mask downtown, and that's completely normal these days, but the police chief too, and he's not even wearing it over any orifices. He's just wearing it like a beard guard. Talking right into the microphone so that everybody else is going to talk into. Wow. So that's just, it's mind-blowing, but that's just to give you just the briefest of examples of the fact is there's no going back. Like the change that's happened, well, you remember a few months ago before the virus thing and it caused a change, no going back to before. There is no going back. And you know that, you know full well, but some people might not know that. You're not going back. There's never going back. But at the same time, you look at, like I mentioned before, and it's probably before you got up in the building, but if you look at these one things, instead of getting flustered, which I also have the tendency to do, it's looking at all these things, it's overwhelming, it's bewildering. Instead of getting all flustered, we could just stare at one thing. And the thing is, we're not smart. It's not us figuring it out. It's being revealed to us. It's being revealed to us in like every waking moment. If we were to take the right opportunity to focus on what it is we need to focus on, you see this, you see everything, all around the world, every single problem. It all comes to dwell up inside you, I guess. It all accumulates like you're Captain Planet or something, and you see one thing and you know everything. Meanwhile, there's people out there desperately trying to see everything and they're seeing nothing. They're not getting it, right? And those people, a lot of those people are going to fly off the deep end. Who's to say maybe they'll get radicalized, which I'm not very much a believer in. They could get radicalized. Could get very much fooled by the government into becoming quote unquote radicalized, in which they set you up like a patsy. That sure happened. Because they get so overwhelmed. See, that's the trick. They get overwhelmed. They don't know up from down. And then they'll get tricked into any sort of things. Not only becoming a patsy for the government or something like that, in their desperate strain to try and figure everything out, but also they'll succumb to suicide. And suicide rates just through the roof right now. So they will do that as well, right? With their brains trying to desperately figure it out. A human brain can't figure it out. You need to have it revealed to us. And there's a humbleness to it, obviously, and you got to realize that you're not in charge of this. But it's being revealed to you, and not to try and grasp at it, but to let it flow through you and into you, and now you know everything. You know all that there is to need to know about everything. You can't go anywhere in the world and not figure it out. Right? Not because you're figuring it out, it's been revealed to you. It'll be that easy. And there's success in that, and it's in the Lord, and it's in our older brother Jesus. And we already know where to get the success. And we've been confused about that, because we've been trying to get different types of success. We'll play a little bit more of this video and then head on out of here. And I appreciate you. We've been experiencing success, especially in the fallen state, which we mentioned earlier. We're all confused and stuff, and we try to get success in weird like external ways, be it like financial success or this and that success, maybe social status success or whatever. And it's always been a distraction, and it will always be a distraction. The thing is, that has nothing to do with success. But once a person attains success, right, everything else falls in line just as it's supposed to, right? And it's a success that's only found through God. And God will go ahead and make everything simple for everybody, for every last person, just as simple as night and day. This is the answer if you're going to pay attention. Or you could try and figure it all out for your whole damn life and be scrambling, fumbling, and bumbling, right? So that's where we're at. And meanwhile, all stuff's crumbling around us. So people might panic, whatever, get flustered, like I said. But in success, I try to understand it, not to attain it, but to recognize it when it's being given to me, basically. I want to recognize it when it's being given to me. And doing that, everything else will just fall in line. And I genuinely believe that we won't have to worry about anything else, to include this stuff in which we're being lied to by any number of people.
The right of the folks who are here to protest, we're here to ensure that right is enforced. We want them to exercise their First Amendment rights.
Protests continued peacefully over the next couple of days, but then late on.
You might not be shocked to notice that most of the protesters are going to be white and brown. Why? Because it's the demographics of damn San Antonio. And there's black people too. And there's everybody else. Big old city. And y'all are stupid liars.
Tuesday, San Antonio police used projectiles that hit both protesters and members of the media.
San Antonio police say they did what they had to do.
Some members of the media were also hit with the projectiles. A reporter tweeting a question to the mayor asking if he was okay with this. He responded, "No, I'm not."
Guys, we got to get out of here in 1 second. We'll play a little bit more of this video, but isn't that what they deserve? Alright, and they're too stupid. They're too dumbfounded to realize that they're making fun of themselves right now, and I had a good laugh about it.
This is new video just into the KSAT 12 newsroom from last night's unrest in San Antonio, leading law enforcement to react with pepper bombs and wooden projectiles.
Since then, Police Chief William McManus says that going forward, the order for officers to use crowd dispersal weapons will come only from him. Some people have expressed surprise at the number of people who have participated in recent protests. But civil rights experts say they're...
I mean, count on your hand how many black people are there at that protest. They must all be on stage.
There is a rich history of
years working on these issues to deal with equal rights, equal employment.
Man, good for them. Thing is, they've gotten nowhere basically. All right, they've done nothing. This NAACP or whatever in San Antonio, to my knowledge, has done nothing worth acknowledging. Right? And leave it to this guy to have his face so close up to the camera, just like me and stuff, man. Tripping. All right. I don't know what note to leave off on just because I don't know where this freaking documentary goes. But if you want to check it out, it is KSAT Explains: Unrest in America, Episode 1. And it's just like, it's hard to get through it. It's hard to get through it because you have to stop it every 5 seconds and be like, these people are in love with lies, right? To include this guy right here, unfortunately. And they'll cling to it, and they love him no matter what. They love the lies regardless, and they will violently defend the lies until their dying days, these people, right? And it is unfortunate. But some people snap out of it, right? Most people who who will snap out of it have already snapped out of it. Most of them, right? And that's what we're dealing with. We're beyond a point of no return. A lot of these people just can't stop, won't stop, in love with the lies, all right? And it's unfortunate, but we got to get up out of here. I got to go make some money, and ain't that the truth? Got to pay those bills, and I am not, thankfully, waiting on the government to pay my bills for me right now, all right? And I'll holler at you wherever you're at and stuff, man. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time, and we'll do probably a call-in thing. You know what I'm saying? I'll holler.